Money doesn't buy happiness, but it does buy a solid gold toilet you can't return. Humanity has spent centuries proving that wealth and wisdom rarely hang out together. From diamond-encrusted disasters to financial faceplants that could bankrupt logic itself, buckle up. We've only just started digging through the world's most expensive stupidity. 1. In 2004, a billionaire decided his yacht wasn't fancy enough, so he commissioned a new one with 2 helipads, a concert hall, and a literal glass-bottom swimming pool that hovered over the dining area. The final price tag? Over $300 million. The yacht was so big, it couldn't dock at most ports on Earth. He spent an extra $25 million just to build custom docks. In short, he bought a floating money pit that couldn't go anywhere. It's less a boat and more a financial cry for help that gently drifts through international waters. 2. Somewhere in Beverly Hills, a man once paid $10,000 for a haircut. Not a wig, not a diamond-studded masterpiece, just a haircut. The stylist claimed he used energetically aligned scissors, blessed by monks, which apparently makes snipping 100 times more spiritual. The customer said it changed his life. Which is fair, because after dropping 10 grand on a trim, you'd better feel transcendent. For that price, the hair should grow back with a 401k. 3. One of my favorite spending tragedies comes from a lottery winner in England who decided to buy a fleet of sports cars, despite not having a driver's license. He filled his driveway with Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and one customized car that looked like the Batmobile. Neighbors complained because he'd rev the engines for hours, pretending to race. Within 2 years, every car was repossessed, the mansion foreclosed, and he was back taking the bus. The irony? The bus fare probably cost him more emotionally than financially. 4. In Dubai, a wealthy collector once bought an iPhone plated entirely in 24-karat gold and encrusted with 600 white diamonds. The Apple logo alone had 53 more. The total cost? $15 million for a phone that was outdated by the time it arrived. He said it made him feel connected to innovation. Sure, if innovation means carrying a small, glittering brick that can't download a software update without crashing under the weight of its own jewelry. Imagine dropping that thing. You wouldn't just lose your phone, you'd create a small crater of regret. 5. A New York art investor once paid $120,000 for a banana duct taped to a wall. The artwork, called Comedian, became a viral sensation. And then someone literally peeled it off and ate it. Security rushed in, but the artist shrugged and said it was fine, since the concept lives on. Translation: the buyer didn't even own the banana. He owned the idea of the banana. For that money, you could have bought an entire produce section and still had cash left over for therapy. 6. There's a man in California who spent $2 million building a replica of the Millennium Falcon cockpit in his garage. It had sound effects, flashing panels, even smoke machines for light speed. The catch? He wasn't an engineer, so none of it actually worked. It was just lights and noises powered by an extension cord. He called it immersion. His wife called it grounds for divorce. At least he got to live his dream, briefly, before the power bill arrived looking like a ransom note. 7. In 2012, a Chinese businessman decided he wanted the world's most luxurious toilet. So he ordered one cast entirely from solid gold, complete with diamond-encrusted flush handle, cost around $2.5 million. He even held a press conference to show it off, calling it a symbol of progress. Within a year, the company went bankrupt, the gold toilet was repossessed, and workers literally had to carry it out like a fallen idol. Somewhere, the plumbing gods were laughing. 8. And just when you think people can't waste money faster, meet the influencer who spent $30,000 turning her dog into an Instagram model. We're talking photo shoots, designer outfits, a personal trainer, and yes, even a doggy life coach. The pooch gained 3,000 followers, then bit the photographer during a sponsored shoot and got banned from the platform. The campaign ended in chaos, unpaid bills, and a quote from the owner that perfectly sums up this video. "I didn't lose money, I invested in potential." 9. A man in Las Vegas once spent $250,000 to build a private replica of the Titanic inside a warehouse. He claimed it would be a luxury event venue, complete with ocean sounds, fake fog, and a bar shaped like an iceberg. The grand opening drew 6 people, 5 friends, and 1 confused Uber driver. Within a year, the structure started leaking from a broken sprinkler system, sinking in the most poetic way possible. When reporters asked him if he regretted it, He said, "It's what the real captain would have wanted." I'm not sure if he meant the ship or his bank account. 10. In Japan, a tech millionaire decided to marry a hologram. Literally. He spent over $17,000 on a digital bride who appeared through a tabletop device and spoke in an anime voice. He held a full wedding ceremony, rented a venue, hired guests, wore a tuxedo, and exchanged vows with a USB stick. The marriage software was discontinued a year later, effectively making him a widower to firmware updates. That's one way to experience love and loss, all from the comfort of your Wi-Fi network. 11. Once upon a time, Mike Tyson had so much money he bought 3 Bengal tigers, because, as he put it, they matched my vibe. The animals cost him $70,000 each and thousands per month to feed. One allegedly slept in his kitchen. When animal control inevitably intervened, Tyson discovered the hard way that you can't put jungle ownership under home expenses. He later admitted the tigers were a bad investment, saying, "I should have just bought a dog." Yeah, Mike. Or maybe a savings bond. 12. In Russia, an oligarch decided his cat deserved better than regular furniture, so he commissioned a $20,000 Louis Vuitton cat bed. The cat refused to sleep in it, choosing the cardboard box it came in instead. The owner called it an insult to culture. The rest of us call it karma. If you ever need proof that luxury doesn't equal happiness, remember the billionaire crying because Mr. Whiskers preferred Amazon Prime packaging to high fashion. 13. There's an art collector in Florida who bought an invisible sculpture for $18,000. The artist described it as a work that exists within the mind. The collector insisted it gave him a sense of calm. I'd say it gave him a sense of getting scammed. Imagine showing it off to guests. "It's right there. Can't you see it?" No? That's how you know it's valuable. Somewhere, the ghost of common sense is filing a restraining order. 14. A YouTuber once spent $400,000 launching a hamburger restaurant for his followers, but he never showed up to manage it. The kitchen was chaos, orders were wrong, and the reviews read like a post-apocalyptic Yelp novel. One customer literally received a slice of raw bacon in a bun. After 2 weeks, the restaurant closed, and he called it a social experiment. That's influencer code for, "I just set my money on fire for views." 15. In the 1980s, a man in Texas spent his entire life savings, $100,000, to buy the world's largest ball of twine. He thought it would be a tourist attraction. It wasn't. He parked it behind his gas station and charged $5 per photo. After 6 months, he'd made about $27. When he finally rolled it into storage, the twine snapped and flattened his truck. At least he got closure, and a free metaphor about bad investments. 16. And then there's the woman who spent $5,000 on an emotional support crystal, shaped like a potato. It was sold as a manifestation tool for abundance. Within a week, her dog ate it. She called customer service demanding a replacement, only to be told that the universe had made its choice. Honestly, that's the best business model I've ever heard. Blame karma for refunds. 17. One Wall Street executive decided to simplify his life by moving into a minimalist apartment. Sounds smart, until you learn he spent $1.2 million decorating it to look like it had nothing inside. Custom white walls, invisible shelving, furniture made of translucent resin. Even a $15,000 nothing lamp designed to emit emotional light. He proudly called it a sanctuary of simplicity. The irony? He had to hire a cleaning crew twice a week just to keep all that nothing spotless. If money talks, his just whispered, "Help me." 18. A man in Los Angeles paid $300,000 for a rare bottle of wine, then opened it with friends during a poker night. Problem: the bottle wasn't wine. It was grape juice sealed in an antique label, a fake. He sued the seller, who said, "Well, you drank it." So the judge ruled he'd consumed the evidence. Imagine being outsmarted by fermented Welch's. That's not vintage. That's vengeance in liquid form. 19. A crypto bro once decided to immortalize himself by turning his face into an NFT. He spent $50,000 on the digital portrait, plus another $20,000 on PR to promote it. When the market crashed, his face, once worth the price of a sports car, sold for $17. Not $17,000, just $17. He later told reporters, "At least I still have my face." True. but the blockchain still has the receipts. 20. In 1999, a man in Texas spent $40,000 turning his basement into a Y2K bunker. He stockpiled canned beans, gold coins, and VHS tapes of Walker, Texas Ranger. When the world didn't end, he tried to rent it out as an Airbnb. Guests complained about the smell of beans and existential regret. Eventually, he rebranded it as a museum of misplaced panic. Honestly, that's the most accurate history exhibit in America. 21. A British aristocrat once spent $250,000 importing sand from the Maldives to create a private beach room in his mansion, complete with UV lights, fake seagull sounds, and a hired beach butler. After a few weeks, he realized the sand attracted ants. The extermination cost more than the import. By the time it was over, he'd paid £500,000 to turn his lounge into a sandbox of regret. It's the only beach where you can get both sunburn and bankruptcy. 22. During the 2000s, rapper Birdman famously spent $1 million on a solid gold toilet seat. He said it made him feel like royalty. Unfortunately, the hinges rusted, because gold, as it turns out, is terrible for plumbing. The seat literally snapped mid-sit, turning his royal flush into an emergency call. That's not luxury. That's the universe reminding you some thrones were never meant to be sat on. 23. A French businessman once paid $50,000 for a dinner with his favorite celebrity, an exclusive private meal arranged by a fake agency. He showed up to find the celebrity was a cardboard cutout. The scammers even served a fake steak dinner to the cardboard, complete with a glass of wine. He filed a police report. The detective reportedly asked, "Was the cutout polite?" "I'm not sure what's worse, losing the money or having to explain that your date literally couldn't ghost you." 24. A Silicon Valley millionaire spent $200,000 building a smart mirror that gives him daily compliments. It scans his face and says things like, "You're glowing today," and "The world is lucky to see you." He said it improved his mental health. His wife said it improved her urge to move out. The kicker? He tried to patent it, but someone already had. Turns out there's a whole market for reflective narcissism. Who knew self-love could require venture capital? 25. In 2016, a man in Florida decided to make his backyard eco-friendly by building a pond stocked with exotic fish. Sounds peaceful, right? Until you realize he filled it with imported piranhas because they were cute and misunderstood. He spent nearly $40,000 on the landscaping, heaters, and custom filtration. Within 2 weeks, the piranhas ate every other fish, each other, and part of the pump system. The HOA fined him for maintaining a murder lagoon. He said it was a learning experience. Sure, $40,000 worth of biology class. 26. There's a collector in Texas who spent over $3 million on celebrity memorabilia, including Elvis's alleged toenail, Justin Bieber's used tissue, and a single Cheeto shaped like Jesus. When asked which was the most valuable, he said, "Emotionally, the Cheeto." Financially, everything turned out to be fake. He tried to auction the toenail and was told it belonged to a mannequin. Imagine explaining to your accountant that your portfolio consists of food dust and lies. 27. A self-proclaimed visionary in Silicon Valley spent $800,000 creating a new line of luxury water. It was literally tap water poured into minimalist glass bottles with the slogan, "Hydration Redefined." He sold 37 bottles, all to his own employees, who were forced to buy them at company events. When investors pulled out, he claimed they lacked imagination. No man, they just had Brita filters. 28. In 2008, a British couple won the lottery and decided to invest responsibly. Step 1. Buy a mansion. Step 2. Build a racetrack in the backyard for their personal Ferraris. Step 3. Add a private nightclub, aquarium, and rotating bed. Within 5 years, they were broke, not because of a bad market, but because of the electric bill. The husband later said, "We didn't lose money. We just spent it wrong." That's not wisdom. That's the national motto of financial stupidity. 29. A CEO once spent $2 million on a corporate rebranding campaign for his startup. The new logo? The same as the old one, but in a slightly darker shade of blue. The PR firm called it a bold evolution. The internet called it Photoshop's least effort. Investors called it grounds for reconsideration. If you ever wonder how companies go bankrupt, remember, some people pay 7 figures for a color correction. 30. A wealthy TikToker once spent $70,000 creating a replica of the Mona Lisa out of toast. He called it the intersection of art and breakfast. Critics called it the intersection of carbs and regret. He claimed the installation was meant to challenge consumerism. Ironically, the ants challenged it first. Within hours, the piece decomposed faster than his credibility, and his next video was a tearful apology filmed beside a toaster. 31. One luxury hotel in Les Iles. Vegas once offered a $1 million weekend package, 3 nights in a suite, a private concert, a gold-dusted steak dinner, and a $100,000 shopping spree. A hedge fund manager bought it, twice, and later admitted he remembered none of it. When asked if he'd do it again, he said, "Probably. It was worth the story." The story being, man proves amnesia is tax-deductible. 32. And in maybe the greatest waste of genius ever, a scientist in Germany built a fully functional robot butler to pour wine, then spent $500,000 upgrading it until it could sense moods. On its first demonstration, the robot misread the crowd's emotion as depression and poured an entire bottle of Merlot onto a journalist's lap. The scientist declared, "It works. Technically, yes. It's a machine that detects sadness and makes it worse." 33. A billionaire in Hong Kong decided to outdo everyone at his daughter's wedding. He spent $75 million, not on the ceremony, but on the fireworks. They went on for 3 hours. The city had to reroute air traffic because the smoke set off multiple airport alarms. Guests reportedly left after the first hour to get snacks. His daughter later admitted she hates fireworks. So, the man basically burned $75 million to annoy his child and confuse several pilots. Love really is priceless. But apparently, stupidity has a receipt. 34. One Hollywood producer bought a private jet just to avoid standing in TSA lines. Price, $65 million. Then, in an act of cosmic justice, he developed a fear of flying. He still pays the full maintenance and crew salaries every year, $1.5 million, just so he can say he owns it. The plane hasn't left the hangar in 7 years. It's less an aircraft and more a $65 million anxiety closet. 35. An entrepreneur in Las Vegas decided his casino needed an edge of mystery. His solution? Hire a psychic consultant for $100,000 a month. The psychic's advice? Trust your instincts. 6 months later, the casino went bankrupt. The psychic didn't see that coming. When reporters asked the owner if he felt scammed, he said, "No, she told me failure was part of my journey." Which is a poetic way of saying, yes, I got played. 36. A collector in Switzerland once paid $400,000 for a haunted painting that supposedly cursed its previous owners. He said he wanted to face the darkness. Within a week, his insurance company canceled his policy. No haunting necessary, just actuarial logic. When the painting failed to do anything spooky, he called the artist to complain that it wasn't haunted enough. That's when you know you've officially gone broke and bored. 37. A woman in Beverly Hills hired a feng shui consultant to rearrange the energy in her mansion. The consultant billed her $250,000 to move the couch 3 feet to the left and put a plant in the corner. When she protested, he said, "You're paying for balance." 2 months later, she moved the couch back herself and said she felt the energy shift. Yeah, that's called muscle fatigue. 38. A man in Florida, and you knew Florida was coming, spent $100,000 to turn his swimming pool into a wave simulator. Unfortunately, his backyard was about 20 feet from the ocean. The machine caused so much vibration that his neighbors thought it was an earthquake. When city inspectors told him to shut it down, he said, "But what if the ocean stops working?" That's not how nature works, buddy. But apparently, that's how Florida works. 39. An influencer couple spent $600,000 launching a clothing brand made entirely of spiritually recycled fabrics. Turns out that meant they bought used t-shirts from thrift stores, cut them in half, and sewed them back together. Their big launch video featured them burning leftover shirts to symbolize rebirth. The fire department called it arson. Their brand folded faster than the laundry they destroyed. 40. In 2019, a tech billionaire funded a research team to cure aging. After 2 years and $10 million, the team concluded that he was still getting older. Disappointed, he spent another $2 million on blood transfusions from teenagers, convinced their plasma would recharge his cells. When it didn't work, he claimed it made him feel younger. Maybe because his doctor's entire staff quit from disbelief, and he had to chase them down himself. That's cardio. 41. A startup founder once spent $1.5 million building a smart fridge that could post to social media every time you opened it. It tweeted things like, "Jerry grabbed a snack and milk is low." He said it would revolutionize human connection. It didn't. Within a week, the fridge's Twitter account had more followers than Jerry, mostly bots, and confused food brands. When the company folded, he blamed a lack of visionary investors. No, Jerry. You built a refrigerator with an ego. 42. In 2015, an heiress in Monaco paid $80,000 for what she thought was a rare piece of meteorite jewelry. It turned out to be asphalt, scraped from a parking lot. When she demanded a refund, the seller told her it was cosmic pavement. She wore it once to a gala anyway, claiming it grounded her spiritually. And she wasn't wrong, because technically she was wearing a chunk of ground. 43. A self-help guru once spent $400,000 developing a line of motivational candles. Each one came with affirmations like, "You are infinite," and "The world listens when you burn bright." Problem: the candles actually exploded due to a manufacturing error. Customers posted videos of spiritual enlightenment followed by small fires. His PR statement read, "Our candles release energy too quickly." No, sir, that's not energy, that's combustion. 44. A retired oil tycoon built a $30 million mansion shaped like his own face. He said it symbolized vision and legacy. The windows were his eyes, the front door was his mouth, and every room was an ego trip. Locals called it Mount Narcissism. When he died, his family refused to live there, saying it felt like being inside Grandpa. Eventually, the property sold for $3 million to a wax museum. Poetic justice achieved. 45. In the 80s, Pepsi held a contest in the Philippines that accidentally promised $1 million to 700,000 people because of a printing error. When angry winners demanded their money, Pepsi claimed it was symbolic. Riots broke out, and the company spent millions on legal settlements and PR cleanup. Somewhere in a boardroom, a marketing executive quietly whispered, "Maybe next time, just give them a coupon." 46. A luxury car company once tried to appeal to elite environmentalists by creating a hybrid SUV that ran partly on solar power. Problem: it needed full sunlight to drive more than 3 miles. Buyers in cloudy states literally couldn't leave their driveways. The CEO defended it, saying, "It's not about efficiency, it's about possibility." Yeah, the possibility of walking. 47. In 2020, a crypto investor spent $2.9 million buying the first ever tweet from Twitter's founder. 2 years later, it was worth less than $100. When asked if he regretted it, he said, "No, I bought history." He didn't. He bought a hyperlink, a digital participation trophy in humanity's dumbest economy. It's the modern art of regret, non-fungible, non-refundable, nonsensical. 48. And for the grand finale, a man in Nevada spent $10 million building a full-scale replica of the Starship Enterprise in the desert. His dream was to open a sci-fi hotel. The problem? He didn't secure the rights from Paramount. They sued him before construction even finished. The half-built ship still sits abandoned, slowly melting in the sun, a monument to ambition without permission. It's the perfect symbol of this entire list. Humanity boldly going where common sense refuses to follow. And there you have it. Proof that when it comes to wasting money, human creativity knows no budget limit. Which one deserves a gold medal in financial idiocy? Drop your vote in the comments before someone tries to sell it as an NFT.